Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the third and final day of Sustainability Week 2026. We hope these past few days have enriching conversations, valuable connections, and new ideas that will continue well beyond this event. To begin today's program, we're pleased to welcome a very timely and important conversation, Sustainable Finance in the Digital Future of Finance, led by Katia Bowasa, Chief Regions Officer at IDB Invest. Please join me in welcoming our speakers to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, we have a very hard act to follow because yesterday Prime Minister Mio is here, so we're going to have to create more magic to keep everybody on the third day. So I'm very pleased to be here. Our topic is not about surfing, although we could expand into some beach conversation, but we're talking about sustainable finance and the digital future of banking. This is important because this digital transformation can really help banks scale up and deliver more impact and impact more effectively. Digital transformation is really reshaping how we understand clients and how banks design products and also reach the people and the businesses that previously were hard to serve or underserved. So, and this is very important in sustainable finance, because in sustainable finance, the results is what we are seeking, getting better measures and how we deliver to this subgroup of people, important group of people, and better ways to measure results. So today I have a great partner with me, joining me from Paraguay, from Banco Familiar. I was going to say Popular, sorry. Sebastián Jiménez. Sebastián is the CFO of Banco Familiar. The bank has been working, IDB Invest has been working with Banco Familiar and has lent in local currency approximately 90 million local currency equivalent to expand lending to micro entrepreneurs, while also help deepening the local markets. So with that, I have some questions for you, but really would like to open it and have a dialogue on everything. I've been very impressed with Paraguay. We had our asamblea there for IDB Group. The country received us with a lot of enthusiasm, and HSBC, IDB Invest was a partner to a lot of the government and the private sector, investing in the private sector $1 billion. So we have a lot to talk about, but let's start with the digital questions and hear from you. Banco Familiar has been using ECO, its digital wallet, to expand the financial services, particularly to micro entrepreneurs and underserved clients. Digital tools are key, but at what point does digitalization shift from being just a channel to becoming the core of Banco Familiar's business model as a whole?
Well, thank you, Katia. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here. And well, financial intermediation is probably one of the most digitally scalable services in the economy. But for an institution with over than 60 years of history like Banco Familiar, the challenge was not only technological, it was about transferring the trust and proximity historically built in the physical world into these digital channels. That was a very important learning process for us. And the positioning and trust the Banco Familiar has built over decades allowed us to accelerate the digital adoption. But we also realized that ECO has a potential to go even further. Today, the ECO brand reached approximately twice as many unbanked and underserved segments that reflects a much deeper reality across our region. Just as there are more than 2 billion people at the base of the economic pyramid, Paraguay still represents a huge challenge for financial inclusion. And once you understand that, digitalization stops being merely a commercial strategy and becoming a development tool. In fact, through this model, we were able to double our base of clients, of customers, in less than 5 years through ECO. And today, we account for close of 20% of country digital transactions, which has clearly become the primary ecosystem for them. But I believe the real shift happens when we understand that digitalization is not only redefining how people access to financial system or the banking system itself, but also how they participate in the economy. For many years, we spoke about digitalization and digital transformation mainly in terms of efficiency. Better apps, less friction, faster process. But today we understand that real transformation occurs when technology not only reduces operational friction, but also reduces exclusion. And that fundamentally changed the role of the bank, Familiar and all the banks. For thousands of people, the mobile phone is not only an access channel, it's the first gateway into the financial formal system. At that point, the conversation stopped being purely technological and commercial and becomes economic and social. Behind every digital account, there is a person trying to save for the first time, manage their finance, collect payments digitally, build a financial history, that's very important, and grow small businesses. So digitalization evolves from being just a customer-facing layer into becoming infrastructure for inclusion and economic mobility. That's a very important aspect. And that forced us to rethink the entire business model. It's no longer enough to offer financial products. We need to build ecosystems capable of supporting people's economic growth in real time. This is where data plays a critical role. Historically, many segments were excluded simply because the financial system lacked of information about the economic reality. Today, through digital models, we can transform transactional behavior into financial inclusion. And I believe that is where the real paradigm shift happens. Digitalization stops being a department within the bank and becomes the core from which we think about inclusion, scalability, efficiency, and sustainability. Digital banking should not be measured only by the numbers of account opened or transactions volumes. It should be measured by the numbers of economic opportunities it creates. The most powerful form of digitalization is not the one that accelerates transactions, it's the one that accelerates opportunities.
That's actually, you touched upon a couple of very important points. The financial inclusion and reaching the subsegments that otherwise you would not have.
Yeah.
You said some important data on Paraguay, because Paraguay is the growing country with an investment grade rating in the region. So going the opposite, in the right direction, opposite of a lot of its neighbors. Tell us again, what is the percentage that of the bottom of the pyramid?
At Paraguay, we have a very informal economy.
Yes.
We will getting better as the time goes by, but maybe 10 or 15 years ago, the formalization was only about 30% of the economy, and today reach about 60 65. So there is a lot of trench to walk in that matter.
And do you associate that with digitalization?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because digitalization is what uh, enables people to formalize their small businesses, start new businesses, and getting credits in the formal system, getting away from the bad lenders. And I think that definitely the digitalization was a key role for transformation in the economy.
And how is that playing out with other banks? This is obviously you're leading that effort, but this is something that is throughout Paraguay?
Yeah, Banco Familiar was the pioneer, no, was the pioneer. But today, and maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the competition was getting stronger, and that is something that we are very glad. We are very glad to, because it's always important that the customers and the users have options. So yeah, today Banco Familiar reached approximately 35% of share of wallets in the users' accounts, and we well we have the 20% of the digital payments in the financial system.
And when you were spearheading this initiative, did you have to incorporate a lot of education and training for the smaller businesses and the entrepreneurs in order to get familiar and move them from the informal to the more formal, uh, you know,
Absolutely.
path?
Digital financial education is a key. It's a very important part of this business, because one of our roles is to not only to attract people to the formal financial system, but keep it. The important thing here is that people can remain within the formal financial system, and that in that case, the education is a principal key role.
So when we provide you with financing, and we've collaborated on financing, it's of course we want to see results, right? So how do you say that the digital path is allowing you to provide more transparency and deliver better effective impact from your side, and why you are also complying with some of our requirements, when we lend you from IDB Invest to lend on to the SMEs. So do you think the digitalization is helping the path of tracking and showing the impact and results?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I think that it's very important to recognize the strategic value of IDB Invest effort to structure local currency financing. That not only creates expansion capacity for the bank, but it also creates greater resilience and stability and sustainability for the end clients, primarily micro entrepreneurs and small businesses. Um, they are operating in the real economy and generating revenues in local currency. So the financial in local currency is absolutely important. From our perspective, this type of partnerships also challenge us to evolve to the way we think about financial services. We often speak about a concept we call positive friction. This is where digital platforms have an enormous potential. They allow us to support clients through financial education, intelligent product configuration, monitoring, and measurements, personalization, and management tools that previously were impossible to scale. And when capitals comes with impact objectives, the challenge completely, the challenge expectations are greater. Financing is no longer measured solely by the financial return. It's also measured by its capacity for transformation and requires much more sophisticated digital capabilities, particularly across three dimensions: traceability, data intelligence, and governance. And for traceability, we need to demonstrate with precision and consistency how financing reach specific segments, how it is used, and what long-term outcomes it produces. In traditional models, the level of monitoring was limited and very expensive. The digital ecosystem allowed us to build a much more granular and dynamic understanding of customer financial behavior. And that is critical because today the multilateral institution and investors wants to understand not only how much capital was deployed, but also what concrete outcomes it generates. And going to data intelligence, the capability is transforming data into actionable financial intelligence, because the value of digitalization is not accumulating information, it's understanding people economic realities much deeply. For example, identifying income patterns and detecting early signs of financial vulnerability, supporting formalization process, and understanding when a micro entrepreneur or begins to consolidate the growth. And that allows us to build a much more inclusive risk model, better aligned with the realities of our region's economy. Financial inclusion often happens not due to lack of economic potential, but due to lack of economic visibility. And our third dimension is governance and reporting. Working with institutions like IDB Invest significantly raises the standards, the institutional standards of the bank. It requires to develop monitoring, measuring transparency capabilities aligned with international standards, and that's very positive for regional financial system. Institutional trust will increasingly depend on the ability to demonstrate impact in an objective, verifiable, and consistent way. From our perspective, the great opportunity is to use technology to scale financial inclusion without compromising data, governance, or sustainability. Technology enables scale, but governance is what allows scale to remain sustainable over time.
Can you give us a little bit of maybe an example of a more recent digital capability that has helped you better deliver results and better measure impact?
Yeah, we are working very aligned with IDB in develop new measurements and also digital education capsules for clients, and obviously to get aligned with the standards of the IDB Invest.
And would you say this would not have been possible a couple of years ago?
I think it was not possible before the pandemic. the world was much more physical, you know, and after the pandemic, the digitalization gets a new boost, and I think that was the keystone to this can escalate quickly, and you know, in 5 years, the whole landscape shifted completely.
So if we want to look ahead and knowing how rapidly technology is evolving, how much progress AI is doing, and we've heard about this throughout the last couple days, and looking at this tremendous growth that Paraguay is undergoing, if you look the next 12 to 24 months, or even 5 years, hopefully no pandemic this time, what do you think that one thing can affect and shape your strategy in a different way?
Well, I believe that in the future, the 12, 24, 36, even in 5 years, we'd like to demonstrate something deeper than digital growth. Where we would like to demonstrate economic mobility, you know, because that is the final stance of our mission. Because true success of digital banking is not measured only by numbers of accounts and transaction volume. It should be measured by its ability to strengthen financial resilience and expand real economic opportunities for people. And of course, the quantitative metrics matter. You know, it's important to quantitative more entrepreneurs getting finance and greater access to formal credits, higher adoption of digital financial tools, deeper penetration across traditionally underserved segments. But we believe the most meaningful metric will be demonstrate upward financial mobility. And that is people entering the formal financial system and remaining with it. That's, like we said before, customer building a financial history for the first time, small businesses achieving more stable cash flows, entrepreneurs transitioning from cash-only operations into digital economies, and families developing stronger savings capabilities and greater resilience. Because we believe that financial health is not simply about opening accounts. Financial health is about expanding economic capabilities. This is where technology has extraordinary potential in Latin America, particularly in markets where there is still significant room for inclusion and formalization. Like Paraguay is, I think, the best example of that. If in the next 12 or 24 months, we can demonstrate that digitalization enables broader financial access in a responsible, sustainable, and measured way, then we will be able to say that we are truly scaling sustainable finance. Because financial sustainability is not only defined by how much capital we mobilize, it's defined by how many economic trajectories we help to transform.
Absolutely, and I think financial inclusion and reaching the groups that were previously underserved, using the growth to empower the SMEs and the entrepreneurs. I think that's key to a sustainable growth, especially in a fast-growing country. And I think we heard from you, and we also heard from the CEO of Finabank a couple days ago how typically in a country that's like Suriname, that expanding, similar to Paraguay, expanding at a fast pace, it's very easy for the lending and the activity to be concentrated with the larger corporates.
Yes.
So banks such as yourself and Finabank that are using the digital transformation to reach the smaller groups and promote more the business at the entrepreneur level and businesses in the other, the last mile. is key for sustainable financial growth and financial health of the system, of the banking system.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the banks have a critical role here and a huge responsibility in this matter, because it's easy to catch clients digitally and lend them money, but the real challenge is to educate them to use wisely the money, because our goal is to remain with the clients, and the clients were capable to growth and develop new strength, and not only lend money, make some profit, and then the client gets in debt problems, you know. So I think the responsibility of the financial system is very important here.
Well, thank you so much for your thoughts. And more importantly, thank you for being a great partner to IDB Invest. I mean, your bank and everything you're doing at Familiar and ECO is really helping us develop the financial sector in Paraguay. So appreciate your collaboration and grateful for all the partnership along the way. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, everyone.